Listen!
Alright, you walking sacks of Jason fodder. You clicked on this video because A, you suck at counselor and want to get better. Or B, you want to learn new things. This isn't a guide telling you how to play or what you're doing wrong. This is more of a video tutorial on things you might not know with some tips. I'll be going through a couple of different things, so if you're here to learn about certain aspects of the game, I'll put timestamps for you to skip to. We'll start out with the most basic mechanic that not many people know how to manage. Fear is a mechanic that works against you and for Jason. The higher your fear, the easier it is for Jason to spot you with sense. Not many people know the indications of fear rising and know how to manage the aspects, so I'm going to go through some basics. Fear is indicated in many different ways. You may notice your counselor changed from a completely calm face to a I gotta take a massive dump face. Counselors will look around while you're standing still, look over their shoulder, and raise their arms in a scared position to show that they are accumulating fear. Another way to figure out your fear level is to pay attention to your stamina bar. The more fear you gain, the more discolored this becomes. Going from a bright red to a discolored purple, the more fear you gain. Tripping is also a product of too much fear. Your counselor becomes clumsy, making jogging and running a pain when you either trip into a bear trap by accident or trip into Jason by accident. The major indication you have too much fear is the gray effect that goes over your screen, indicating you're basically at max fear. Your HUD begins to disappear, and you light up like a Christmas tree when Jason uses sense. Now you're asking, okay, how do I manage fear and decrease this mechanic? It's very simple. First thing is to turn on your damn flashlight. You know that flashlight that's on your belt? You press the F button and turn that shit on. You'll eventually learn the best times to turn this off and on, but for now, keep that shit on until you learn. Stay in well-lit areas, and this will keep your fear down. Jason can knock out power, so if you see an electrical box that's damaged, fix it. You'll thank me later. And they also give you 50 points. Walking, jogging, running through the forest are not the best idea if you want to manage your fear. They're dark places, so you're going to end up gaining it a lot faster than if you were to walk on the road with the street lamps. The electrical boxes also affect the street lights in that area. Another way is to keep yourself armed. Make sure you always have a weapon in your hand. Each weapon has a varied chance of stunning or doing more damage to Jason. So choosing your weapon according to your counselor and perks you have equipped is probably the best idea. Barricading doors. I've never personally had any difference when a door is locked or not, according to my fear, so I see no point in locking the doors right off the bat. It shows Jason you're there without him needing to actually use sense because of the locked icon that shows. I found plenty of counselors hiding inside cabins without even using my sense or having it at the time. Locking doors also gives blips to Jason on where you are, which I'll delve into later on in the guide. Staying with other counselors also keeps your fear down, but bigger groups will also attract Jason, so be careful of that. Coming across a dead body gives a big penalty to your fear, so watch out for those. Also, staying near Jason will also accumulate your fear faster. The composure stat is also a big help when managing your fear level. In addition, certain perks also help your fear levels, so make sure that if you're not trying to be seen as easily, then you use these types of perks. My next tip is spawn locations. Now I know objective items don't always spawn in the same spot. Depending on what objective there is will determine spawn locations. Things like the car, boat, and fuse box will always have their items spawn in a certain vicinity. The keys, gas, battery will always spawn around that specific car you are near. So don't be that guy that found the keys, battery, or gas for the 2-seater and walk your ass all the way over to the 4-seater when that 4-seater will have its items spawn around that car. The only exception I see for this is if you have 4 or less people alive and the 4-seater needs the items for it. The fuse box is a little trickier because the fact you can't see where it is. The fuse will always spawn relatively close to the fuse box. So if you find it, look at your map if you have one, and check the cabins in that area. I won't be showing the exact locations of the fuse box. I'll let you play and get used to the areas it spawns in. If your counselor has low repair, it's wise to drop the item at the objective for smarter counselors to put it in, just so you avoid giving indications to Jason whenever you screw it up. So you hold X to drop items in your hand, and highlight and press X to drop the items in your inventory. Pamela's sweater will always spawn in Jason's shack. Where the shack is depends on which map you're playing. From my knowledge of playing, there's only 2 locations on each map. Crystal Lake is either the very north above the topmost cabin or very south next to the road escape. Higgins Haven is on Jason's Island, which is the only island on the map, or a bit south from the graveyard. Packanack Lodge is either far west on the piece of land jutting out, or far east deep inside the forest north of the road escape. The person holding Jason's mask, if you manage to knock it off, will give no audio indication to Jason while you're inside the cabin, allowing to grab the sweater with ease. Managing stamina. This all depends on what counselor you play in addition to what perks you're using. I'm hoping by now you know how to jog, but just in case you don't, you press X to jog. Jogging should be your main source of travel in this game. If you run the same distance you were to jog, you'll waste a lot more stamina, but get there faster. Knowing when to run is key to surviving. Walking gains stamina back at a slower rate. Standing still and crouching will gain stamina at a faster rate. Certain perks will allow you to gain stamina faster when standing still or crouching, with others allowing you to use up less stamina while jogging or running. The higher your fear, the slower the stamina regenerates, so keep that in mind. A couple tips for using stamina wisely. Only run when trying to juke a shift grab or a knife throw. Using objects like trees, rocks, furniture, or even other counselors also help. If Jason is chasing you and you're close to a cabin, gain distance by running in order to open the window and jump through instead of smashing through it. Same goes with doors. So you have time to close the door and lock it before he can get behind you and either grab you or hit through the door, which will cause damage and interrupt the animation of closing the door and locking it. Noise indications. You'll notice when you do actions, if you look at your mini-map, you get a white circle that resonates from your player. This is an indication on how much noise you're generating. A lot of things generate noise. Jogging, running, opening doors or windows fast, locking doors, smashing through windows, getting scared from a dead body, firecrackers, talking on your microphone, turning on the radio, and swimming. These all blip on Jason's screen showing activity in that area. Some are good for distractions while others are bad. Things that help this are different perks or high stealth characters or luck characters. The more counselors in an area, the more noise that's generated. So if you're playing a stealthy character, I'd advise you to keep some distance, but also still know where everyone is. A quick segment on how hiding spots are used and how to use them effectively. High fear equals a shitty hiding spot. No matter the hiding spot, if your fear is too high, Jason will see you with sense, be it in a house or a porta potty. With low fear, hiding will nullify Jason's sense, making it a better chance the hiding spot won't light up. This is good for the beginning of the game when Jason first gets his sense and he just so happens to morph in your area. You can hide under a bed or in a closet to stop the cabin from lighting up. But you have to have low fear. If your fear is too high, it's not going to work. Also, be sure to hold your breath before he gets too close, because he can hear when you start holding your breath. And also, the counselors do some cliche shit of, I hope he doesn't see me and shit like that, and it's fucking annoying. So choose your counselor that fits the role you want to play, and couple them with perks to craft your own playstyle. So now you're like, okay Monto, I got all this information. How do I avoid Jason? See, this is a harder thing to explain. Playing more and learning from your mistakes is the only way you'll understand how things work. I can tell you not to run, or I can tell you to choose certain counselors and perks, but that's not going to help you in-game if you don't learn how to play a certain way. Some people like to beat the crap out of Jason, while others like to do objectives and get out without conflict. If you're a brute force kind of person, go Bugsy. Stick with the group, help defend against Jason, or choose Adam, who can hurt Jason at the same time as being able to do objectives. If you're a lone wolf that likes to play stealthy, choose someone like AJ, who has a high stealth, repair, and composure, which allows you to sneak around and do objectives. Or Deborah, who is weak, but also able to stay hidden and repair things, probably the best. If you're a runner, Vanessa can run long distances very fast, and also has some good strength to her. Or you can choose Tiffany, who can run around and stay stealthy, and you also get an ass to look at while you play. Or maybe you're an all-around type of guy who likes to do things in the moment. Kenny, with his balanced stats, will probably be the perfect pick for you. Or, if you like the role play, Eric and Chad are your go-to. But watch out, people associate Chad with team killing and selfishness, so you best get them keys and sneak out while you can before they come swarming. Enhance your playstyle by matching it with perks that work for your counselor, or help boost certain areas that are lacking. Make sure to use Jason's weaknesses against them to help make your chances at surviving even greater. So I'm going to go over some tips that you may not know just to help you out a little bit. To disarm traps, Jason's traps, you have to have a pocket knife, and you also have to crouch next to it to get the E prompt to show. Trapping the outside of doors will ensure Jason has to go through it in order to break down the door. Jason's sense only goes a certain distance and relies on you having a high fear. Figure out where he is, keep your distance. Being near objectives will attract Jason naturally. While in a car, Jason needs to be on the side you're going in order to stop it. So if you're going backwards, he needs to be behind you. If you're going forwards, he needs to be in front of you. Use furniture to keep a gap between you and Jason. So in those single door cabins, you're able to juke around and get back out the door without getting hurt through the broken windows. Jason's ability Stalk will turn his music off, but you can also hear him stomping around still, and he has pretty heavy footsteps. The boat gives no audio warning to Jason, but it's also the easiest vehicle to get killed in. Try not to swim if you can avoid it. You'll find medical sprays in most washrooms. This includes the public washroom in Crystal Lake. There are map posts in every single map so you can get a big map from it. So if you spawn near the map post, go to it first, grab the map. If a counselor escapes with items, those items will spawn along the beach. This includes parts, weapons, and all inventory items. And my last tip for you, Jason can hit you through doors and windows. Don't know if this is intended or not, but be careful when locking it with him right behind you or jumping through a window. So that's basically all I got for you. What you do with these tips I've given you is up to you. This was more of a guide on how to survive than a guide telling you how to play. So use what is useful to you and develop your own way of playing. I hope you found it helpful and enjoyed our little talk. And please, for the love of God, if you can't drive, drop the keys to someone who can. Or if Monto's in your game, then you give them to Monto. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
I'm just all about this money. I don't think about no thighs. Girl, you don't know about me, so get off my fucking D. Born and raised in the dot. This is real as you gon' see.
Look at these things. Look at these things. Look at them.